kind of give us an update on how you feel that Q and Will have done in this early portion of practice and what you've seen from them?
Yeah, I'm really happy where they're at. Starting with Will, he's got to do a lot more than Q has as far as leading up to camps, and we don't hit Will, so there's a little bit of difference there. But I've been really proud of what he's doing. He's moving really well whenever he has to sprint out, whenever he has to scramble. I mean, whenever we're doing any of our team compete or anything like that, if there's somebody comes free, I'm gonna blow it as a sack. But if he's got to move the pocket, we still got to work on our scramble drill. So he's done a great job. I think Q's done a really good job. He's just getting back used to being in the pads again, the cuts where you are getting hit. I mean, he's not been taken to the ground yet, but he's been hit some, and so I think he's handling that really well. I just think Will, because he's got to do more football through the summer, that he's a little bit farther along, but I feel good about both of them.
Are you hoping they have that moment that they're like, okay, I'm good?
Yeah.
In camp?
Yeah. What's funny is the other day, the first time, so Will Hammond has hit the ground in camp. He stepped up in the pocket, moved to his right. Ponton and Mateen got tangled up to each other, so they both fell, and all three of them went down together. And I'm not gonna lie, I was holding my breath, but Will popped up, and and Mike, our head trainer, goes, I didn't have that on my bingo card. The first time Will would hit the ground is, in this group. But it happens sometimes, but it was, they all three got tangled up a little bit. Will was kind of away from them, and they just kind of slid. But I do think they are gonna have that moment. I think Q's moment is gonna be more that first game, We're kind of doing different things in practice, how much live, like we just went live goal line, so it's less space. It was really good. It was really a split between the offense and defense on who won. All three groups did, but I think I've kept Q out of that so far, so I think more of his stuff is going to be that week one.
Where does he weight-wise compared to where he wanted to be? How much has he dropped back down toward?
He's 225, so we're working to get him to 220 or playing at 225, but feeling really good at that weight. But he's 225. We had some guys. The other day I had Dowdy, relook at the deal because like Cam Dickey right now is 220 pounds, and that's up. Probably I imagine he played close to 210 to 212 last year. And he looks good. So we've gotten bigger and stronger. We're a bigger team. So he's still, I think with him, he'd be more comfortable at 220, and it's going to naturally come off. These afternoon practices with the sun out a little bit and it being a little tropical in Lubbock, to naturally come off a little bit.
Is there a status on Mateen?
He's good. The knee that where we held him out, the knee that he has, he's had surgery on it, and it's kind of a bone bruise, and so we feel good about it. We just didn't want to put him in. I think he wants to go, but we did. To give you an example, we did a deal the other day. Sean Kinney, who's our director of player personnel, he did a deal on how many snaps these guys have taken, not counting special teams. So example, Ben Roberts has taken 2,280 snaps in college football on the defensive side of the ball. We've got the most experience in the country on the defensive side of the ball as far as returning snaps. So how much live those guys are actually going to do before week one, how many reps, we're really critical about how many reps they're getting ready, making sure we're getting enough reps, but also making sure that everybody on the team's ready to go for week one.
I believe in today's practice, I think you walked up to Tristan Gentry and you're like, it's like you're playing basketball. What was kind of the story behind that?
Yeah, it was he might have been over there. I was talking to the corners, really, because we do a skill rush, whenever we do that, whenever y'all were out there, and it's so your safeties, your linebackers, your corners are coming on their blitzes. And we do that because those guys, you might call it 1 or 2 times a game. I think last year we were the least pressured team in the country when it comes to Coach Wood's defense. And one reason is because we had, 2 dudes coming off the edge. We may have 4 dudes coming off the edge right now. And so how many times they're actually going to get to do that in a game. So we've got to make sure we practice that. We just don't want to call a corner blitz and then that's the first time they've done it and we expect for them to be successful. So that's really trying to put tools in their toolbox. And I was trying to get those corners to understand it's just like crossing over somebody when you're attacking that tight end or that tackle. You're trying to cross him over like you would in basketball.
In that drill, Austin Romaine really stood out. He was pretty impressive rushing off the edge. You've talked about how impressive he could be as a piece coming off the edge as well. Is there going to be any specific packages for him this year in that type of capacity?
Yeah, that's something we did a little bit today in our third down stuff about some of our dime packages, our cheetah, just different stuff like that, because we do have some guys that have that, in the ability to do that. Austin is a more natural pass rusher than Jacob was. Jacob was really natural in pass coverage, and so we've got to take advantage and play to our guys' strengths. That's one of them. I think Corey Platt's a guy like that. Getting Michael Dingle back. I mean, Michael is a very natural, fluid pass rusher, and so having packages to where he's out there too. I mean, he's playing star, and we bring the star, but also in some of that dime personnel, having him coming off the edge.
And then with Damian Guyton, now 5 practices in his career, how impressive has he been in his advancement through these past couple of days?
Yeah, he's one reason that we fell in love with him, minus all the athletic ability, but he's a football junkie. Like, he really loves football, and so he's one of the first guys in the building. So this is a kid that's supposed to be in high school right now, and he's one of the first guys in the building. And our guys do a really good job of getting in here and getting their bodies ready to practice. And so it's really cool to see that. Him and Coach Smith have really connected. That was one thing when we lost CJIU. We were really nervous about holding on to him, and Jock has done a phenomenal job of connecting. So they've had a great connection. And so the thing with him is he's picked up stuff really, really fast. And, you can look at him. He doesn't look like he actually looks like Romello Height and David Bailey more than he looks like a guy that's supposed to be a senior in high school. And so really excited about him. And he's just learning. And I'm glad he's come in the way he has, because the guys are really bringing him in. They would anyway, but, man, my guys love football, and they love people that love football. And so his seriousness about football and everything like that, those guys really kind of grab onto him. I always tell him, I said, man, if you don't know what to do, just follow Adam Trick and Trey White. I mean, those are 2 guys that are going to get drafted next year. They're pros. Just Adam is the first guy in the building every single day. So I'm like, hey, if you don't know where to go, just find those 2 guys, and everything's going to be okay.
Guys, top for 1 or 2 more.
I know for a guy like that, you're not expecting him to be here all 5 years, but him reclassifying up and having that 5-for-5 system now, does that change your development plan for him or usage in this first year?
Man, I think he can get to the quarterback. And, we saw last year, if you get 40-plus sacks and you can do it with a 4-down rush, then you could play really good defense, And so I think he'll affect the at least, if nothing else, he'll affect third down, or he'll affect the, second long passing down.
Speaking of younger guys and development, what have you seen from Felix Ojo so far, even though he's a younger guy and still working his way up and learning from the older guys?
Yeah, Felix is another guy, really loves football. Like, he's got a very high football IQ. He listens. He's trying to, right now we're kind of messing with his stance a little bit to get a little bit more power in his base. But he's running with the 2s, so that kind of tells you what we think about him and where he's at. He's backing up Howard. We've got some older guys, swing guys that, if it was, the good thing is he's going to have some snaps throughout games to get ready, but right now he's in our 2 deep.
With B.J. Jordan kind of going back and forth between positions in the spring, I guess, in
Yeah.
camp, does he know both of those so well he's so experienced?
Yeah.
Any challenge for him, or is it more of a challenging camp than usual for him?
No.
He's not settled into one place.
Yeah, man, if it was anybody else, it would be a real challenge. I mean, BJ's played so much, and he's going to end up playing all 3 safety spots. So whenever it's all said and done, I mean, an NFL team would absolutely love a kid like that, because he can play all 3 spots. And it really is, depending on the period, it's not even the day. One period, of practice he might go as our free safety, and one period he might go as our boundary safety. And so, you know, it's good because all the other guys are responding. You know, Peyton Morgan should have had 3 picks. He dropped 3 picks, but he's around the football. I think Oliver Miles is in a really, really good spot, and Malik has shown up a bunch. And so we feel like those guys, it's good to have Jordan come in because he's played a lot of football. But if it was somebody else, BJ, I mean, I think their head would be spinning, but BJ's really, you know, he's played. I mean, this is year 4 of him playing, and so he's really got it down. And he's huge to have in that room because we've got some really talented young safeties. Maddox Quiller is having a really good camp. So, and Maddox reminds me a lot of BJ as a freshman. So I could see Maddox playing some early.
When you'll go on Saturday, what's kind of the structure? Is there anybody you're going to hold out from them?
No, but we'll limit. It'll be a lot of thud, and a lot of the live will come more with our threes, guys that haven't played college football. You know, we'll get a lot more live, but it'll be a lot of situations. We still got one more like basic situation to get in. We'll get that in today, Tuesday. We'll get that in Thursday with our 2-minute drills. But we got a lot of our stuff in as far as just situations, not necessarily playbook-wise, but we've done a lot of red zone, a lot of third down. Getting that 2-minute in will help a lot. So it'll be a lot of situational football. We'll end with red zone lockout and see who has to run.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank y'all.